Okay, good morning, everybody. I call the January 13th, 2026 meeting of the DuPage County Board to order. I invite everyone to stand and join in the Pledge of Allegiance. Member Tony Torrey, will you please lead us in the pledge? United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Today we have a very special invocator, and I would like to ask my Vice Chair, Member Childress, to do the invocation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Will you please join me in a moment of reflection now? Please let us pray together, each of us according to our own beliefs. Let us thank our colleagues, our neighbors, our friends, and our family. Let us be a source of hope for those in need. Let us be grateful for our many gifts, including the opportunity to serve. Let's listen with open minds and hearts. Let our speech and our actions guide us with kindness, respect, and fairness. And let us take the opportunity to make our communities better, a place that welcomes all and provides for all.
Mr. Deputy Clerk, please take the roll.
Member Cahill. Here. Member Childress. Yes. Member Covert.
Here.
Member Desart. Member Eckhoff. Member Evans. Member Galassi. Member Garcia.
Here.
Member Heather. Member Honig.
Here.
Member Krajewski. Member LaPlante.
Here.
Member Martinez.
Here.
Member Ozog. Member Schwarzy. Member Tornatori. Member Yu.
Here.
And Member Zay.
Okay, I would like to invite to the podium Vice Chair Childress, Dan Wagner, and Regina Brent. Okay, today we're going to take some time to honor Martin Luther King's birthday. I'm a big believer that in the business of public service, it's important to forge strong relationships to be successful on behalf of our constituents. No one was better at bringing people together than Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. Each January, we celebrate the great civil rights leader's life and legacy. And in DuPage County, hundreds of people will, once again, be brought together in Dr. King's memory at the Unity Breakfast celebrating his birthday on Monday, January 19th. Dan Wagner and Regina Brent and members of the organizing committee worked with partners from all over DuPage to bring this breakfast back in 2024. And I believe, based on the popularity of the event, it is a resounding success. I'll read a proclamation and then ask our guests to say a few words. Whereas Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. devoted his life to the advancement of civil rights and public service, believed in a nation of freedom and justice for all, and challenged all people to help build a more perfect union and live up to the purpose and potential of America. And whereas in 1973, Illinois became the first state to make Dr. King's birthday a state holiday. And the residents of Illinois honor Dr. King's legacy each year on the third Monday in January. And whereas the celebration of Dr. King's birthday, which falls on January 19th this year, is a time for the people of Illinois to recognize Dr. King's teachings on advancing equality and opportunity for all by contributing their own time and talents in a day of service. And whereas to celebrate Dr. King's legacy and his dream, the DuPage community will gather on January 19th for a Unity Breakfast at Drury Lane in Oak Brook and will welcome Dorothy Couch-Scoggins as the speaker. She is the first African-American student to integrate schools in Charlotte, North Carolina. Whereas all net proceeds for the breakfast will benefit community partners, the DuPage Foundation's Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s Unity Fund, which supports organizations who prioritize serving Black, Indigenous, and people of color in the areas of health, human services, and education. And whereas members of the community and sponsors believe that it is important to support the annual Unity Breakfast to offer attendees time to reflect and be inspired by the work of Dr. King and his followers. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Deborah A. Conroy, Chair of the DuPage County Board, and members of the County Board do hereby declare January 19th, 2026 as Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and we commend the DuPage County Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Unity Breakfast organizers and committee for providing this important opportunity for our community to celebrate and reflect upon Dr. King's legacy and his work that still needs to be done to achieve his dream of equality and achievement for all. Okay. All right. Enacted the 13th day of January 2026 in Wheaton, Illinois.
Oh, wow. Good morning, everyone. You know, I feel like I'm at home every time I come back here. And I see the changes and the new faces and things like that. But you know, I must tell you, every time I came back to request something, whether it was Dan Cronin or Deb Conroy, they always had an interest in helping the needs of underserved people, no matter what color, race, or creed. And so with that being said, I just want to say to you that the elephant in the room is that people were wondering, was this holiday going to continue? And we didn't know that. But we did know one thing. When I heard the rumors about the fact that the national parks were discontinuing admission on the day of Dr. King's birthday, I got a little worried. I called Dan Wagner, I called Lisa and Company, I called Mike Citrix from the DuPage Foundation, and I've seen the chairman at many different events and asked questions, do we have anything to worry about? And they said, worry about what? Dr. King's birthday. Not a problem. We are going on. This show must go on. And it cannot go on without our blue-eyed brothers and soul sisters, without the African-American community. And so I say to you, thank you for being so courageous at a time when we know we have obstacles in our way, but we also know we still have the faith and the funding and the grace of God to continue to carry on the legacy of Dr. King. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
How many of you attended the event last year and the year before? Everybody. I mean, it's incredible. Thank you for being a part of the family. Our DuPage family is, 1 million people, but we all are so close. And it's Democrats, it's Republicans, it's making a beloved community where everybody's equal, and that's what is best, I think, about this experience of Dr. King. We had Dr. King's personal lawyer last year, Fred Gray, and probably the best thing he possibly could have said to us, to Regina and I, he said, Regina and Dan, we talked in a Southern accent, I want to let you know that my friend Martin would love absolutely everything that you're doing here in DuPage County. Oh my gosh, I mean, could it be any better? But one last thing I wanted to highlight, Frank Trilla, the mayor of Willowbrook, he said to me a couple weeks ago, he's like, Dan, I went to a Catholic school growing up. I'd go to Mass as a kid. I'd walk into feeling bad, and I'd walk out feeling good every time. When I became an adult, I walked into Mass, I'd walk in feeling bad, and I'd walk out feeling bad. So I stopped going to church. But I go to this event, and I walk in feeling bad, and I walk out feeling good. And so Frank Trilla is out there talking to all the mayors and everybody else that this is something that makes you feel good. So thank you for acknowledging how this helps people feel good. And we feel really blessed and honored to have all of you as elected officials and to have our chairwoman, Deb Conroy, running the show for us. We appreciate DuPage County more than you know. And I guess I overheard what other county has a surplus. Oh my God, we're DuPage County. Aren't we great? This is good stuff. God bless you all. Who's going to do social media? Not me, right? Somebody's got to text this to me. My fraternity brother's going to do that. I knew Greg when he was 19. If anybody wants to know anything about it, let me know.
On the matter of public comment, according to our county board rules, members of the public shall be afforded time to address the board. Individual remarks shall not exceed 3 minutes in length, nor shall the total time provided for all remarks exceed 30 minutes. Our first speaker is
Bill Graham.
Testing, 1, 2. Up, lift it up, lift it up. Is that it? Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. My name is Bill Graham. I'm the president of the Homeowner Association at Valley View. Some of you may know Valley View is from 1960 it was established. We have over 550 single-family homes, and we have 1,200 registered voters. We also pay around $4 million in annual property taxes. Our group is concerned about a variance for gambling in our neighborhood. We think it's a big mistake. On average, we think it's a big mistake. We also would probably protest massage parlors, drug dispensaries, strip clubs. These are not consistent with our single-family community that many of us have worked really hard to establish and maintain for all these years. Variances that are granted by the county should benefit the community, not the developer, not politicians. And I think if you really like the idea of these casino gambling type operations, I hope the county will consider installing them in their own buildings. Thank you.
George Taylor.
Is the mic on? First, let me say I do agree to disagree about what Dr. Martin Luther King would think about DuPage County in these days. I'm here to talk about the racism, discrimination, misconduct, and corruption going on within the Sheriff's Department and the State's Attorney's Office, and absolutely address the board about myself not hearing anything about anything from any of you in regards to these allegations. You know, I would like to give an example of the kinds of allegations that are being made, which would be my own, which would take more than 3 minutes, I would believe, for me to do. But just to shorten it up, you know, I've been in this county and around this place, I've been called racial slurs, and I've addressed it with the people within the Sheriff's Department, and especially James Mendrick, which is the person who has gave his best attempt to cover up anything regarding my allegations. And the allegations, they come with so much evidence and proof that people are not, there's nothing else left to do with it but cover it up in some form or fashion. Him and Bob Berlin. You know, Bob Berlin at one point told me he didn't even want to talk to me. So did James Mendrick. And it's all due to racism, discrimination, misconduct for the most part, and absolutely the most important, corruption that's going through this county. So if anything, you know, for this board and anybody to bring up Dr. Martin Luther King, anything, that really did not sit well with me, and I'm gonna leave it right there. And for now, I'll see you guys again.
Jackie Sample.
Good morning, board members and elected officials. My name is Jackie Sample, and I am here to address the board and every elected official throughout DuPage, Illinois. I had a family law case in DuPage County that started in 2023 of February. Since then, my case was assigned 5 different times. All 4 of the judges on my case knowingly accepted fraudulent financial affidavits from my spouse. All 4 judges knowingly decided to not uphold any of their valid court orders. All 4 judges participated in domestic violence against me knowingly. These things are on the record. I have contacted every board member, every elected official throughout DuPage County. So when I hear the board speak about Martin Luther King and civil rights, that hurts my soul. It hurts me deeply because the egregious acts that were committed by 4 DuPage County judges, it's the most egregious act for a period of 2.5 years. And finally, in May of 2025, when they got tired of me writing them up and making complaints and showing off how they have been breaking the law, committing conspiracy against rights, Judge Neil Cerny dismissed my divorce against my wishes, therefore forcing me to stay married to my abuser. Have you ever heard of that in this country? I am legally married to a man that's abusive because these judges have been covering things up for 2.5 years. I have no food half the time. I could barely leave my house. My health has declined. This has affected my health so egregiously, and every judge knows what's happening in this building. I've reported this also to Bonnie Wheaton. Judge number 1 was Judge Kenton Scarn. Judge number 2, James Arrell. Judge number 3, Neil Cerny. Judge number 4, Susan Alvarado. Judge number 5, Neil Cerny came back as judge number 5 and dismissed my divorce case against my wishes. I've never heard of people talk so much about civil rights and the love of Dr. Martin Luther King, but a member of DuPage, I have contacted every board member and everybody throughout this county, and every one of you have ignored my cries. You can't get into legal matters. I don't need another legal aid number, but what you can do is report the crimes. There's plenty of documentation that I have sent to show that these judges are corrupt. There's bribing going on. 4 judges, it is not a coincidence that 4 judges all knowingly accepted fraudulent financial affidavits, lowering our assets by over 75% and leaving me penniless. That is not a coincidence. That is what's called a conspiracy against rights. Those are RICO actions. So I'm asking every elected official to do their job and report the crimes so that I can get my life back. Thank you.
Greg Mastila.
Morning. My name is Greg Smeistrela. I am the president of the Glen Ellen Woods Civic Association. We are currently located at the southwest corner of Butterfield and Park. Within 0.7, I'll say it again, 0.7 miles of our homes are 5 within 0.7 miles gambling establishments. Within 1.25 miles is the 6th one. It has gotten out of control. 3 of these locations are within 300 feet of Arborview Elementary School. They keep talking about the church, which is almost 1,000 feet away. Let's not talk about the high school, which is 600 feet away. Arborview keeps being kept off the records because it's too close. There's another one there's a daycare location, which is 65 feet away from a gambling location, which is right behind them. It opened not that long ago. seems to be forgotten. Most of these places of gambling sell liquor. That's one of the requirements to get their gaming license. How many of these actually have legitimate public restrooms? A lot of them don't, because they're convenience stores, being there to collect the cash from all the people who are gambling. Here's a few more other things here I want to make sure everyone wants to realize. The other morning, I was sitting there, and they're running gambling addiction commercials. Not one here, one there. They're running them more and more. Why is that? Gambling is becoming more prominent in Illinois. With all the online gambling, now we have actually more gambling in all these convenience stores and gambling cafes. It's becoming more and more relevant that gambling is happening all over the place. Too close to me. I think we should curtail this in a quick manner and vote all these locations down. Hardships are not, variants are not. We don't need them in our. There's a casino down the street, 20 minutes from my neighborhood. Go down there. It's brand new. There's another one 20 minutes away north by the airport. Not that far away. Go there and gamble. We don't need them in our neighborhoods. Finally, what is the board going to do moving forward to stop this? We can come here and protest and say our piece, but without you guys moving forward and shutting these guys down, we will be here every meeting. Thank you.
Jesse Gutierrez.
Morning. Jesse Gutierrez, West Chicago. It was just 6 months ago that I appeared before the board to warn that ICE was coming because their budget was tripled. Soon after that, ICE started terrorizing our neighborhoods, and because of that, non-law enforcement people had to take to the streets to observe and document the continued abuse of taxpayers' civil rights and lack of due process. I appeared before this board again, warning that people were going to get hurt if this continued. And the reason for that was that because I knew that this administration's intentions are to continue to escalate these attacks. You need no further proof than to see the 3,000 additional federal agents they sent to Minnesota after they murdered Renee Good. A situation in which the administration blatantly lied about what actually happened, even claiming the officer that shot Renee Good was run over by her, was sent to the hospital. They want to escalate. They want a violent response, just so they can justify the false narrative that over half the country are domestic terrorists. So I'm here to give one more warning to this board. Stephen Miller, Tom Homan, Kristi Noem have no intention of de-escalating this situation. We need to do everything we can to help de-escalate this before it's too late. The Illinois Trust Act's focus is on separating federal from state and local law enforcement. Our police cannot assist or collaborate together with ICE. That does not mean ICE can do whatever they want and our police just stand idly by or ignore the situation. The best way to de-escalate the situation would be to keep ICE out of Illinois completely until such time that ICE can demonstrate a willingness to conduct their operations with properly trained personnel and without inflicting unnecessary harm to its taxpayers. But we know that's not going to happen. Until such time the government acts in good faith to uphold the law, we should coordinate with all other levels of law enforcement and assign teams of police observers to respond immediately to reports of ICE activity. These officers should be clearly identified as observers so as not to be accused of being in violation of the Trust Act. Their mission would be to ensure the safety of anyone exercising their First Amendment rights and help document any unlawful behavior by ICE. Thank you.
Glenn Nelson.
Morning. Do I have to press a button? We're good? Will it start timing? Okay. Good morning. My name is Glenn Nelson. I'm a resident of Glen Ellen Woods Subdivision Homeowners Association. I've attended every Zoning Board of Appeals meeting and Development Committee meeting to provide written and verbal comment in opposition to video gaming that have come to proliferate our neighborhoods in violation of DuPage County's own ordinances. I have listened to the video gaming establishment attorneys speak on behalf of their establishments that are seeking such variances. Not to my surprise, what I have observed is that the attorneys are attempting to redefine the narrative and meaning of the county's own ordinances. The ordinances are clear that video gaming variances should be denied based on the actual 1,000-foot rules pertaining to the many video gaming establishments that the ZBA and Development Committee denied. Attorneys for these establishments are trying to suggest that the 1,000-foot rule should be door to door, when the 1,000-foot rule is actually supposed to be property line to property line as the crow flies. I have also observed how attorneys for these establishments are merely trying to find loopholes in the ordinances, trying to suggest they should be grandfathered or they have financial hardship, both of which are not allowed to be considered by the boards when considering a variance decision. What is apparent to local residents voicing opposition to video gaming is how the establishments and their attorneys are clearly not addressing public concerns about the welfare and character of their community. The attorneys are merely making self-serving, biased, conclusory statements on behalf of their clients that claiming that there are no adverse impacts or concerns without evidence. They're just making blanket statements. Local residents' views and studies about video gaming are in stark contrast with the views that the attorneys and the establishments are trying to convey to citizens. The attorneys and establishments' willingness and desire to dismiss community concerns puts their true motives on full display. I would like, and they're not motivated by general welfare of the community. I would like to leave the board with this final thought. Video gaming in our neighborhood does not benefit our community or the county's character. Full stop. Does not benefit. We want businesses in our community that edify and build up our neighborhoods and that can thrive on their own merits, as opposed to vice-driven and vice-supported businesses that can't survive on their own merits or reputation or being a reputable business that we want in our community. It is objectively known that vice-driven businesses are detriment to communities, which is why many people don't want them in their neighborhoods. I appreciate this and ask that you remember this for future meetings as well. There have been 4 variance requests withdrawn for this meeting. When will they be heard? Thank you.
Linwood Moffett. Linwood Moffett.
Said she was just registered as an attendee.
Brianka Taylor.
How are you doing today, County Board? Good morning. My name is Brianka Taylor, and I am here today on behalf of my family, the community, and in memory of my cousins, Marquisa Morris and her husband, Jermaine Morris. Marquisa and Jermaine were pedestrians and unincorporated Downers Grove. They were not committing a crime. They were not reckless. They were simply trying to cross the street together. They were struck with such force that they were killed instantly. Their shoes were thrown from their bodies, their personal belongings were scattered across the streets, and their bodies were left lying in the roadway in full view of the community. Marquisa Morris and Jermaine Morris died together holding hands. I need this council to truly understand what that means. These were 2 human beings who did not even have a chance to react, a chance to run, or a chance to survive. Their last moments were violent, sudden, and final. And after that horrific scene, after the street was turned into a place of death, No one from DuPage County leadership came out. No one from DuPage County Division of Transportation came to the site to address what went wrong. No one from this council stood with the family. No one publicly acknowledged the severity of what happened, the pain we are facing, the hardships of Marquisa and Jermaine's children with the death of both parents. WGN News came, the family came, the community came, DuPage County did not. I searched the county's websites, I searched Downers Grove pages, I searched public statements and safety updates. There is no mention of Marquisa Morris or Jermaine Morris, no acknowledgement that 2 people were killed in one of the most horrific ways possible. Meanwhile, we are told there are safety meetings, transportation plans, and action strategies. But when pedestrians are repeatedly being struck and killed in Downers Grove, those plans feel hollow when they are not followed by visible leadership, accountability, and compassion. Deborah Conroy, Chair Deborah Conroy, you should have came out and spoken with the family. Chief Communications Officer John Olson, you should have ensured transparency and public acknowledgement. Transportation Committee Chair Mary Fitzgerald Ozog, you could have addressed this tragedy directly with the County Safety Action Plan. I also am asking this county board in its oversight capacity to press Sheriff James Mendrick for clear answers regarding the investigation into the deaths of Marquisa and Jermaine. We still have no answers. To be clear, as a county board, we're not asking anyone to prosecute a specific individual, or we're not attempting to interfere with prosecutorial discretion. However, it is entirely appropriate and necessary for this board to ask questions and demand transparency from the Sheriff's Office. The DuPage County Sheriff's Office answers to this county. Thank you.
Okay, if the board has received public comment via our online portal, per board policy, those comments were provided to members yesterday so they could be reviewed. Comments submitted electronically will be included in the minutes of this meeting. Okay, welcome to 2026. I hope you all had a wonderful and restful holiday season with your families. I came back into the office in early January, energized to begin a new year of initiatives and programs that will sustain and improve the lives of DuPage residents. To that end, I'll report one impressive statistic I learned recently. Since its opening on September 2nd, our DuPage Crisis Recovery Center has seen 743 individuals, with 139 of those being youth. I hope you are as gratified as I am to know that our mission to provide that safe place for people suffering from mental health or addiction crises is being successfully met here in our community. Kudos to the DuPage Health Department staff and, of course, their leadership, Board Chair Sam Tonatore, and board members, including Paula Deacon Garcia and Sabah Heather. I'm impressed by the impact we are having already, just a few months after opening. On today's agenda, there's a discussion item to note. We received notification last week that the county clerk filed an appeal of Judge Brian Chapman's ruling in favor of DuPage County, which was announced in December. Civil Division Chief Lisa Smith of the State's Attorney's Office is here today to answer any of the board's questions on this matter. We'll take this up at the end of the meeting before we get to old and new business. And on a really cheerful note, I would like to acknowledge and congratulate our very own Irish St. Patrick's Day Queen from DuPage County, Claire Cahill. No member of my family was ever eligible. Okay. I have 4 sons, just in case you were wondering why. Now, Betty is a different story. We'll talk about that later. On to consent items. I seek a motion to improve the consent agenda items. 26-243, DuPage County Board regular meeting minutes, Tuesday, December 9th, 2025. 26-0068, 12-5-2025 pay list, 25-70, 12-5-2025 auto debit pay list, 26-76, 12-9-2025 debit or pay list, 26-0091, 12-12-2025 pay list, 260100, 1215, 2025 auto debit pay list, 26106, 1216, 2025 pay list, 260 1219, 2025 pay list, 260 1223, 2025 auto debit pay list, 260 1223, 2025 pay list, 260 1230, 2025 pay list, 260 1231, 2025 auto debit pay list, 260 2026 pay list, 260 2026 pay list, 260060 2025 core bill wire transfer, 260072 2025 IDOR wire transfer, 260157 2025 7,7100 8700 wire transfers, 2602231 clerk's monthly report of receipts and disbursements December 2025, 260066 clerk's office 6-month report of receipts and disbursements 6/25 to 11/25, 260109 county recorder monthly revenue statement November 2025, 260142 county recorder's 2025 annual report, 260154 DuPage County Treasurer's monthly report of investments and deposits November 2025, 260219 change orders to various contracts as specified in the packet. All in favor? Okay, we'll move on to County Board and Vice Chair Childress.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on CBR 826 on the appointment of Joseph Moranowitz to the Emergency Telephone System Board.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Member Childress.
Yes.
Member Covert. Member Desart. Member Eckhoff. Member Evans. Member Galassi. Member Garcia. Member Heather. Member Honig. Member Krajewski. Member LaPlante. Member Martinez. Member Ozog. Member Schwarzy. Member Tornatori. Member Yu.
Aye.
Member Zay. And Member Cahill.
Okay, Member Childress.
I'd like to move on CBR 926, the appointment of Sabah Haider to the DuPage Housing Authority.
Okay, we'll need a roll call, please.
Member Childress.
Yes.
Member Covert. Member Desart. Member Eckhoff. Member Evans. Member Galassi. Member Garcia. Member Heather. Member Honig. Member Krajewski. Member LaPlante. Member Martinez. Member Ozog. Member Schwarzy. Member Tornatori. Member Yu.
Aye.
Member Zay. And Member Cahill.
Vice Chair Childress.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on CBR 1026, the appointment of Robert Shalovsky to the Roselle Fire Protection District.
Leave is granted.
Thank
Vice Chair Childress.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on CBR 726, resolution approving the compensation increase for the DuPage County Board of Tax Review.
Leave is, oh, okay. Member Krajewski.
I raised this issue at the Finance Committee, it was right at the end. But again, I was working last year with Jason Blumenthal regarding this because it's not 1,000 hours. The old supervisor that retired said it wasn't 1,000 hours. It's not 1,000 hours position, but yet we're including IMRF and health insurance, which is not allowed if it's not 1,000-hour position. So he said we were going to be addressing this in the resolution when we appoint the new people. So I guess, are we certifying that this is 1,000 hours even though we know it's not? I guess I look at the state's attorneys were looking at this with Jason also.
I'm going to let Chris address it because the last we had heard was they thought it was 1,000 hours, but that's outside of our knowledge.
It is, except they're only really, maybe in the centennial every 4 years, they may, but even talking to the local assessors, or our township assessors. They know that that position doesn't work 1,000 hours, which is required in order to get the IMRF. And I know in talking to your predecessor, it was like we couldn't find anybody, so we did it because they wanted it.
Microphone.
There are certain requirements that make it a challenging position to appoint people to for consideration and approval. However, you know, AJ has presented some information that the volume has increased. So I think we do need to look at it and respond back.
Well, we're voting on it now. Isn't that part of the?
Well, they are already appointed. This is really the compensation for them being changed.
So we're approving the salary. Because the position's already been getting it for the last number of years, even though they haven't worked 1,000 hours, and we've been telling IMRF they have. But even the former supervisor said they don't work 1,000 hours. We tell IMRF they do.
Well, at some point, IMRF did qualify them as, and
no,
that's
we
not
told
changed.
IMRF, right, that it's 1,000 hours. They can't come in and qualify. They don't come in and audit us.
Well, at some point, we said they did.
Right, exactly.
So we need
said
to look
they did,
at it.
even though they didn't, and IMRF continues to allow them in the IMRF. So at some point, we need to make a determination, I guess, if that's filling out time reports.
Right, and we do need to look at the hours that they are currently working, how we quantify that, and we can report back to you what that looks like.
All right.
Okay. Member Ozak.
I believe in 2016, board members were no longer able to get IMRF. And wouldn't it seem that these people would have to report their hours similar to where the board members who still receive IMRF have to do so? So if they don't qualify, then they wouldn't get it. So they still have to, aren't they the ones who have to fill out the form?
So, yeah, they're set up as per diems. As, you know, appointed positions. In our office, though, they have these board members are compensated over a period of the whole year with the compensation that's agreed upon with them. So I don't know, I can't speak, I don't think they have prior timesheets, but it's something we can look at of how we address that.
Okay, thank you.
Member Covert.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I did receive the email, and they said that our members are involved with more than 900 property tax appeal board filings each year. So I guess it's increased. Can we get verification on how many, or if there has been an increase in the tax appeal filings, and how many hours they're spending if there's timesheets?
There certainly has been an increased volume of what we call PTAB hearings. Main reason being is because I think taxpayers are learning that their odds of getting a better, result through an appeal is through PTAB versus the board of review, because there's the burden of proof is higher at the board level versus the PTAB level, so they just go straight to PTAB. So the volume has increased significantly over the years. And with regards to other counties, their volume of PTAB appeals is much smaller to ours. We have close to 1,000 every year, and it's only continuing to increase. And I don't think it's going to go down anytime soon. So this is kind of an opportunity to recognize that with the
to get that adjustment. Okay, thank you.
Member Krajewski.
Yeah, well, I think there's only 4 people in the entire state that do time reports, because municipalities are exempt, townships are exempt. But when we hire part-time people, one of the things we look at is we hire some that are just under 20 hours a week because they're not IMRF eligible, and then we have ones that are just a little bit over 20 hours a week, and they are IMRF eligible. So we look at that for all the part-time employees that work in this county, and we have several that are not IMRF because they don't meet that threshold. And that's kind of when we go in, when the staff or director comes to you, they'll say, this is a position, they got to make sure they don't work over the 20 hours a week, because they're
Right, as employees, you're right. As employees of the county, yes, they set the annual budget or annual hours for that position, and if it's under the 20 hours threshold, they are not IMRF eligible.
Because I was brought up to me a year and a half ago, and that's why I talked to our state's attorneys, I talked to Jason, who was looking at it, but over the years, they have not been putting in 1,000 hours, no way. And there's a 12-member board, additional board, when it gets really busy, right? Isn't that
there's alternate.
Yeah, we do have an expanded board. We haven't.
So there's an expanded board of 12 people who work when it gets really busy, in addition to those 3. And again, in talking to all these assessors, There's no way, even to the increase probably, that they work 8,000 hours doing this.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Member Kajewski, I don't know that I agree with you. Particularly the 3 members of that board, I think, do work 1,000 hours a year. The extended board does not get pension, only the 3. So, yeah, we can definitely have a further discussion about it. I know we've decided. But the interesting part about it is I think in the past they probably didn't. But now the caseloads are getting larger, so I certainly don't want to penalize those that we have. And we have some pretty good people doing that right now. Not that any of them would not do it if they weren't getting a pension. I don't think that's the case. I don't know that any of them are doing it for that reason.
Well, I just know the amount of time that the 4 people down here put in, and we're just getting over it. We're like at 1,100 when we see those reports, and we put an awful lot of time in it. I can't imagine these guys doing that amount just with looking at PTAB cases.
Okay. I guess we need a roll call? Oh, I'm sorry, another question? Somebody else? Oh, Member you.
Thank you. So actually, I sent out an email to AJ with regard to all this, and he actually answered, I think, a lot of the questions that are being asked right now. Basically, so I asked about the weekly hours, if it were weekly or monthly, and he said that it was hard to quantify. But however, during Board of Review season, which lasts from November to end of February, beginning of March, the Board of Review members are in the office almost every day, and then they have assessment appeals during this time frame where we meet, and then the members need to be here to review, sign appeals for any stipulations or appeals that didn't have a hearing. And then when the BOR is not in session, that's when the work for the PTAB begins, and then they typically have 1 week of hearings per month. And then there's still a lot of work to be done in advance of the hearing, so then the BOR members are in the office weekly during this time frame preparing for anything PTAB related. And then I had also asked about the comparisons between Lake County versus Will County and why the salary increases were going to be closer to Lake County as opposed to Will. And he stated that the overall parcel count and volume of appeals is similar to Lake. Will County had approximately 3,023 BOR notices in 2024, but DuPage had 8,145 total mailed decisions last year, and that was definitely more similar to Lake, which is why I understood why he went with the Lake County salary comparison. So anyways, I thought that was really good information that I wanted to share with the rest of the members. And I do think that ultimately they do need to be recording their hours at some point or somehow measure it, but I think there is a lot more work that is being done. Yes.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, Member Kajewski.
Question when you get this information, do the other counties, because there wasn't anything, do they have their boards, even the ones that get them more money, are they in IMRF? Are they working 1,000 hours? Maybe you can check into that?
I can check into that for you.
Yeah, and let us know if the other counties are giving them the same thing. Thank you.
Okay, I guess roll call, please. Are you okay? Okay, okay, all right, just want to be sure. Okay, then leave is granted, thank you. Wait, what? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, we do need a roll call, sorry.
Member Childress.
Yes.
Member Covert.
Aye.
Member Desart. Member Eckhoff. Member Evans.
Okay.
Member Galassi. Member Garcia. Member Heather. Member Honig. Member Krajewski. Member LaPlante. Member Martinez. Member Ozog. Member Shorzy. Member Tornatori. Member Yu.
Aye.
Member Zay. And Member Cahill.
Okay, thank you, Vice Chair Childress. And on to Finance and Member Garcia.
Thank you, Chair Conroy. Just wanted to reiterate what I said in the beginning of the Finance meeting, because I know that was so early. Many people were not watching at that point in time, but that we did get a report. I got a report from Finance in regard to the clerk's office. The deputy clerk has been here twice asking for additional money appropriation for their bills that need to be paid. At this point in time, what's showing is that they still are going to be short about $91,000, $72. But the clerk will have to come back and request that from the board here to get that funding. This is for some temporary salaries and then the software, which I believe is the NoWink software, which runs the election poll books. So I'm hoping that happens sooner or later as elections are coming up. Also, as you saw by the chair's email that was sent out yesterday, I've been sending emails since last month in regards to getting copies of the contracts for the Hart Intercivic election equipment, and then also for the moving companies. I think it was Prager and GBS, I think, but I don't know if they bid it out for another company because we haven't seen the contracts. I know they have to go through our procurement and also to go to their auditor for any payment of those bills. And so as of right now, I don't know what's been done with those contracts. And then we did have a robust discussion about the surplus money in county board. There was a consensus on the chair's recommendations, which included the stormwater repairs for Elmhurst Quarry, campus flood protection, and facilities management, flood management, and then also the ride, money to go toward the ride and sidewalks in the Hinsdale Lake Terrace, and money to go into a sustainability initiative fund, and then some money to go into a general fund reserves. So that is the report from the Finance Committee. So I make a motion to approve FIR 000526, acceptance of an extension of time for the Energy Efficiency and Conservation Block Grant for program year 24, intergovernmental agreement. This is for an extension through November 30th, 2026 for facilities management.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Member Garcia.
Aye.
Member Heather. Member Honig. Member Krajewski. Member LaPlante. Member Martinez. Member Ozog. Member Schwarzy. Member Tornatori. Member Yu.
Aye.
Member Zay. Member Cahill. Member Childress. Member Covert.
Aye.
Member Desart. Member Eckhoff. Member Evans. And Member Galassi.
Okay, Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve FIR 00110 or 1026, authorizing execution of an intergovernmental agreement between Pace Suburban Bus and DuPage County Community Services for the Senior Transportation Grant Program for program year 26 in the amount of $172,450 for community services.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve FIR 001126, authorizing execution of an intergovernmental agreement between Pace Suburban Bus and DuPage County Community Services for the Paratransit Grant Program for program year 26 in the amount of $690,000 for community service.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
Make a motion to approve FIR 001226, additional appropriation for the Township Reimbursement Fund for Downers Grove. This is in the amount of $785,650.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve FIR 001326, additional appropriation for the Township Reimbursement Fund for Lyle. This is in the amount of $378,864.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve FIR 001426, acceptance and appropriation for the Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program, LIHEAP. This is in the amount of $3,657,594 for community services.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve FIR 001526, resolution declaring equipment inventory and or property on attachment A, purchased by the DuPage County Sheriff's Office as surplus equipment.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve FIR 001626, additional appropriation for the Illinois State Opioid Response Criminal Justice Medication Assistance Recovery Integration Grant for program year 26. This is the amount of $15,000.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
Make a motion to approve FIR 001726, acceptance and appropriation of the Income Eligible Retrofits Program Grant this is for the Weatherization Assistance Program from January 1st, 2026 through December 31st, 2026, in the amount of $350,000 for community services.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve FIR 001826, additional appropriation for the Stormwater Management Fund. This is in the amount of $1,090,000 for the fiscal year 2025 for the stormwater management.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
Make a motion to approve FIR 001926, approval of a grant agreement between the County of DuPage and the Child Friendly Courts Foundation for the Safe Harbor Children's Waiting Room in the amount of $106,000 ARPA interest.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
And finally, I make a motion to approve FIR 002026. This is for the budget transfers 113-2026 for various companies and accounting units.
Leave is granted. Ooh, okay, yeah. Okay, leave is granted. Thank you, Member Garcia. Okay, Animal Services and Member Krajewski.
No update, Madam.
Okay. Development, Member Tornatori.
Thank you, Madam Chair. At the request of the petitioner, items 12A, B, and C have been pulled from consideration on today's agenda. Moving on to item 12D. I move approval of DCO 4-26, zoning 2545, SMM management, to approve a variation to allow video gaming terminal establishment within 1,000 feet of a place of assembly and daycare, and a variation to allow video gaming terminal establishment within 1,000 feet of an existing video gaming cafe restaurant, video gaming terminal establishment. This was approved by the Zoning Board of Appeals and the Development Committee.
Okay, it's been a question. Member Evans?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I did watch the video for Development Committee last week, and is Paul here? Can somebody come up here and, there were so many on the agenda. I want to see if this is the one that was close to the daycare. How many feet away from the daycare was it? 80?
So property line to property line, which is what the code requires, it's 80 feet.
80 feet, okay. And then what, there was a distance between the buildings, right?
There's a church that's approximately 650 feet away, property line to property line.
Okay. So the ZBA voted to deny this, correct, or to approve it?
ZBA voted to approve.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you.
Member Zay?
Thank you, Madam Chair. These are not the businesses in question that we had in public comment, right?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay.
No.
Thank you.
Okay. Member Krajewski?
Yeah, there's 3 of them on the 3 corners. The other one hasn't come forward yet, but the ZBA allowed this one, which is 80 feet away and then a couple hundred feet from the church. They denied the one across the street, which was item 12B, which they pulled, but they were denied at ZBA and zoning. So they allowed one, they denied another. They're literally right next to each other in the 2 corners. My argument was we had a lot of residents here complaining about these video gamings, and this is, they should be down at the state of Illinois, who are the ones that put this in. I know the county in 2010 said no. Many municipalities over time started saying yes, where most of DuPage has them. In 2019, I think we put them in. But just trying to understand the consistency is we have one across the street that we say no to. Now they pulled it because they probably are going to go back and try to use some different arguments. And now this one, which is right across the street, was approved. So I was having a hard time at development trying to read the transcripts of why we approved one, not approve the other. And this one we're approving used to be a grocery store. If you ever walk in there, there's no grocery store in there anymore. It's just machines and some alcohol. But we approved it. And again, the one across the street's not. So I'm having a real hard time with these. They've been operating. We gave them licenses a few years ago. I did vote aye agreeing with them, but I was having a hard time with the other one was denied, again, right across the street. 2 of them next to each other. And the third one's coming to us. It's on the other corner. So there's a daycare and a strip center, and then there's BP Amico, a grocery store, and a 7-Eleven. They all have the machines. We've denied one and approved one at ZBA and at development, and now one got pulled. And another one's going to come to us. So not exactly sure how to vote on it.
Okay, Member Chair Tonatori, am I understanding this correctly? Is it the convenience store ones that were put aside, we're not voting on today? So this other one that we're voting on is not a convenience 7-Eleven store?
7-Elevens have been pulled.
Okay, so I think there's a very different issue with that I think staff is looking into. So I think that waiting is definitely the best thing to do at this point. Member Colbert.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I agree with Member Krajewski. I also was in the Development Committee. I sit on Development Committee, and there was a lot of confusion between an inconsistency with these items. However, one point to note that the public comment that we received that day and the public comment that we received this morning, my understanding of what they're saying is that they are opposed to all the gambling facilities and the video gaming machines that are on this agenda today. So it's not one or the other, and the public comment that I received through email states the same thing. So
okay, so the issue at hand currently is the convenience stores and the 7-Elevens. That's why those were put aside. So if you didn't understand the corner situation, that wasn't the issue. The issue is that they are convenience stores and 7-Elevens. Member Garcia.
Yeah, I just had a quick question for Paul. I think I heard that the one, and I didn't see the meeting, unfortunately, had to leave. The one that is in this one that we're voting on right now has been running with the machines in it previously, correct?
This particular one, no. At the northeast corner of Belmont and Maple, in what was the old Angelo's food store,
Right.
it had not.
So there's nothing in there right now.
No, there is a shell in there, but they never received their gaming license from the state of Illinois for this one that we're reviewing right now.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Member Tonatori.
I move approval.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Member Tornatori.
Aye.
Member Yu.
Aye.
Member Zay. Aye. Member Cahill. No. Member Childers. No. Member Covert.
No.
Member Desart. No. Member Eckhoff. No. Member Evans. No. Member Galassi. No. Member Garcia. No. Member Heather. Member Honig. No. Member Krajewski. Member LaPlante? Member Martinez? Member Ozog? And Member Schwarzy.
Okay. Member Tonatori.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move approval of DCO 6-26, zoning 2548, Lucky 7 Bistro, for a variation to allow video gaming cafe restaurant within 1,000 feet of an existing video gaming cafe restaurant gaming terminal. Again, this was approved by the ZBA as well as the Development Committee.
Okay. Do we have a second? Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Member Tornatori.
Aye.
Member Yu.
Aye.
Member Zay. Aye. Member Cahill. No. Member Childers. Member Covert.
No.
Member Desart. No. Member Eckhoff. Aye. Member Evans. No. Member Galassi. No. Member Garcia. No. Member Heather. Member Honig. No. Member Krajewski. Member LaPlante. No. Member Martinez. No. Member Ozog. Aye. And Member Schwarzy.
Okay. Thank you, Member Tonatori.
Thank
and
you, Madam
if
Chair.
you could, going forwards, can you help at least myself understand the issue with the 7-Elevens? Because I think that's where the confusion is. So I hate to have others losing their zoning because of a bigger issue that we're not clear on yet.
We are addressing these. There was a reconfiguration of our rules at some point, kind of in the midst of these people, some of which had gaming, some of which didn't, and we're taking another look at it.
Thank you. Appreciate your work. Economic Development and Member Yu.
Thank you, Chair. No update.
Okay. Environmental and Member Heather.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move for approval EN-R-1-26 Memorandum of Understanding between the County of DuPage and Midwest Renewable Energy Association to provide a solar group buy program, no county cost.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please. Oh, I'm sorry. We have some questions. Member Cahill.
I just wanted to follow up with Chair Header and what we discussed in the meeting. One of the things, a lot of people received these letters from, it had a DuPage County logo on the return label, and it was very confusing to people. The program is good, but my suggestion was let's remove the DuPage County logo. It should not be used for anything other than DuPage County official business and a department within DuPage County. So I was informed today that the logo will be removed and the letter will go out without the DuPage County logo.
Madam Chair, the return address will be different. We didn't talk about the logo.
Oh.
No, I said the return address will be not the county office. The return address is going to be the utility board.
But I'm not going to vote for this if they're going to use the logo.
Let's see if
there you go.
Got it.
thank you. They will not be using the logo. It will be the Citizens Utility Board's return address on it. The county's logo would be used on the letter as a partner with all of the partners.
That was what my suggestion was, so that's fine, as long as it's not on that return address, the logo. Okay, perfect.
Correct.
People think it's a tax bill, or they think it's something very different than what it is.
Yeah, and I think Member Heather just stated that. Member Zay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, I had concerns with that too. The last one that went out was signed by the chair of the environmental. It looked like it was a county program and it wasn't something outside that, like we were endorsing it and saying you had to do this. So there was a lot of confusion out there by it. So, I mean, I don't think this one's going to be signed by the chair of environmental again. I mean, it looked like an official document coming out of the county of DuPage. That's what it looked like.
It is going to be signed by the chair. It's going to be signed by me, but it doesn't have only the county logo. The logo is there as one of the partners of the program.
Right, but that's the problem, is that it looks like it's an official program of the county of DuPage that we're telling people to go out and get solar. That's what we're telling, and that's why it's signed by you. If it's signed by a county official, then it looks like an official county document. No matter what the logos are, it's going to look like an official county document if it's signed by the environmental chair of the environmental committee. I mean, it's very confusing to people. It looks like we're endorsing something and telling people they have to go out and do this. That's the feedback I got from my residents.
Member Evans.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will agree. You know, it's weird because now it's confusing, I feel like, because there is no county logo on the return address. And if you look at the letter, it does say it's from what, MREA, right? And then it's signed by Chair Heather. So, and it's DuPage County Board. So we might want to even revisit who signs it. It could just be whoever's at MREA, and then, you know, in partnership with DuPage County, because I would agree. I think it is confusing, especially now that we've taken off the county logo, and then it's being signed. The return address is from MREA, and then it's signed by Member Heather, or Chair Heather. So I don't know. Can I make a motion to change the signature line? I think the signature line is really the only confusing part of it.
So if I can interject, what you see in your packet is the Memorandum of Understanding that has an MREA logo. The letter itself has all of the partners, so it has Citizens Utility Board, the County of DuPage, and MREA on the letter that goes to the residents. It's up to this board who signs the letter. That's not something I as staff would.
Oh, so the letter that was attached to this packet was just the the agreement, and not the letter that's going. Do we have a copy of the letter that's going out?
We have a draft. I had emailed it to Environmental Committee for your review.
Yeah, I think I saw that.
Yeah.
That's, okay, so then.
And that is all. That will have all the logos. We don't have that final draft yet, but that was the intention.
Okay, so I think I did see that draft, and I still find it confusing. So we might want to.
Okay,
as long as that's not finalized.
Yeah, we'll review it before
Okay.
it goes out.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
I make a motion to table for 2 weeks until we get a final draft of the letter.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll table it for 2 weeks. Okay, Member Heather.
Oh, there's one more. I move for approval item EN-R-2-26, recommendation for the approval of a grant agreement between the County of DuPage and Choose DuPage for the management of sustainable DuPage for the period of January 13th, 2026 to November 30th, 2026 for a total amount not to exceed $60,000.
Okay, leave is granted. Thank you, Member Heather. Oh, we need a roll call? Oh, does somebody have a question on that too? Member LaPlante, sorry.
Thank
Apologies.
you, Chair. I would just like to give Joy Hines a shout out to her and her staff. I suggested this program saying that we really needed to shift the focus of sustainability from the individual consumer to the businesses that are doing work and profiting in DuPage County to make sure that they are part of our journey towards sustainability and protecting our environment. So she ran with it. And this program that was developed by Rita Hockey, I want to give her credit as well, from Choose DuPage, has absolutely exceeded my expectations. So I couldn't be happier with this program and all of the milestones that we've reached and the way it's grown just from 2023 till now. And I know it's going to keep growing. And just wanted to say thank you and just how proud I am that this work that we're doing on the Environmental Committee. I really appreciate looking at it from a different perspective and focusing on a larger scale and more depth to our sustainability efforts. Thank you.
Okay. So roll call, please.
Member Heather.
Yes.
Member Honig. Member Krajewski. Member LaPlante.
Aye.
Member Martinez. Member Ozog. Member Schwarzy. Member Tornatori. Member Yu.
Aye.
Member Zay. Member Cahill. Member Childress. Member Covert. Member Desart. Member Eckhoff. Member Evans. Member Galassi. And Member Garcia.
Okay, thank you, Member Heather. Human Services and Member Schwarzy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to go right into the agenda here. I'll move on item HSCO 126, approval of an amendment to purchase order 77910001 serve issued to Healthy Air Heating and Air Inc. to increase the purchase order by $180,000 due to DCEO providing more funding for the weatherization program.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Member Schwarzy.
Aye.
Member Tornatori. Member Yu.
Aye.
Member Zay. Member Cahill. Member Childress. Member Covert. Member Desart. Member Eckhoff. Member Evans. Member Galassi. Member Garcia. Member Heather. Member Honig. Member Krajewski. Member LaPlante. Member Martinez. And Member Ozog.
Okay, Member Schwarzy.
Thank you. I move on HSCO 226, approval of amendment to purchase order 77920001 serve issued to My Greenhouse HVAC LLC to increase the purchase order by $180,000 due to DCEO providing more funding for the weatherization program.
Leave is granted. Member Schwarzy.
Thank you. I move on HSR 126, recommendation for approval of a Home Investment Partnerships Act funds agreement with DuPage Pads for tenant-based rental assistance in the amount of $139,000.
Leave is granted. Member Schwarzy.
Thank you. I move on HSR 226, recommendation for approval of a Home Investment Partnerships Act funds agreement with Catholic Charities, Diocese of Joliet, for tenant-based rental assistance in the amount of $204,000.
Leave is granted. Member Schwarzy.
Thank you. I move on HSP 126, awarding resolution issued to Family Shelter Service to provide advocacy services to victims of domestic violence for community service for the period of December 1, 25 through November 30, 26 for a contract total not to exceed $85,000.
Leave is granted. Member Schwarzy.
Thank you. I move on HSP 226, recommendation for approval of a contract purchase order to CDW Government to provide computer hardware, peripherals, software, and licensing as needed for the DuPage Care Center for the period January 14, 26 to January 13, 27 for a contract total amount not to exceed $55,000.
Leave is granted. Member Schwarzy.
Thank you. I move on HSP 326, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Medline Industries, Inc. to furnish and deliver Chase mobile recliners for the DuPage Care Center for the period of January 14, 26 through January 13, 27 for a contract total not to exceed $36,579.85.
Leave is granted. Thank you, Member Schwarzy. Judicial and Public Safety and Member Evans.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on JPSP-4-26, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Northeast DuPage Family and Youth Services to provide services to youths who are at risk of domestic violence and trauma for the period of February 1st, 2026 through January 31st, 2027 for a contract total amount not to exceed $33,000.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Member Evans.
Aye.
Member Galassi. Aye. Member Garcia. Member Heather. Member Honig. Yes. Member Krajewski. Member LaPlante. Member Martinez. Member Ozog. Member Schwarzy. Member Tornatori. Member Yu.
Aye.
Member Zay. Member Cahill. Member Childress. Member Covert. Member Desart. And Member Eckhoff.
Okay, Member Evans.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on JPSP-5-26, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to the DuPage County Health Department to provide mental health services and transportation to clients in pretrial court for the DuPage County Public Defender for the period of January 13th, 2026 through November 30th, 2026 for a contract total amount not to exceed $50,250.
Leave is granted. Member Evans.
Thank you. I move to combine items 16C, 16D, and 16E. They're all supplemental medical staffing.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye. Okay, thank you.
Member
I move
Evans.
I move on JPSP-6-26. Recommendation for the approval of a contract to Favorite Healthcare Staffing LLC to provide supplemental medical staffing as needed for the Sheriff's Office for the period of January 13th, 2026 through November 30th, 2028 for a contract total not to exceed $450,000. I move on JPSP-7-26. Recommendation for the approval of a contract to Health Advocates Network, that's DBA Staff Today, LTD, to provide supplemental medical staffing as needed for the Sheriff's Office for the period of January 13th, 2026 through November 30th, 2028 for a contract total not to exceed $450,000. And I move on JPSP-8-26, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Worldwide Travel Staffing Limited to provide supplemental medical staffing as needed for the Sheriff's Office for the period of January 13th, 2026 through November 30th, 2028 for a contract total not to exceed $600,000.
Okay, leave is granted. Member Evans.
Thank you. I move on JPSP-9-26, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Sentinel Offender Services, LLC, to provide GPS device and electronic monitoring services to juveniles and indigent adult offenders and their victims for probation and court services for the period of February 1st, 2026 through March 31st, 2028 for a contract total amount of $678,000.
Leave is granted. Member Evans.
Thank you. I move on JPSP-11-26, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Heartland Business Systems to provide an enterprise agreement with Fortinet for the Sheriff's Office for the period of January 13th, 2026 through January 13th, 2031 for a contract total not to exceed $687,565.74.
Okay, leave is granted. Member Evans.
Thank you. And finally, I move on JPSP-12-26, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Sentinel Offender Services, LLC, to provide alcohol monitoring services and remote breath RB Pro to adult clients for the period of April 1st, 2026 through March 31st, 2028 for probation and court services for a contract total amount of $35,917.
Leave is granted. Thank you, Member Evans. Okay, Legislative and Member Desart.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Our legislative committee met last week, and I'd just like to thank the committee for their input and edits to our Springfield agenda, especially Member Galassi, Member Garcia. Really, everybody added to the edits. So hopefully today, during the legislative committee meeting, we will be voting to approve our Springfield agenda. We'll also get our first look at the federal agenda. So if you've got edits for that, please come and voice those edits. And most excitedly, as I told the committee last week, our federal lobbyist, Greg Bales, has chosen to leave his firm, and the chair has put forth a gentleman by the name of Riley O'Connor. I got to speak with him last week, and he is so knowledgeable, and he knows everybody. So he is going to Zoom in this morning, or afternoon, whenever we get to the meeting. He's going to Zoom in for your consideration to be our federal lobbyist, and he's willing and ready to answer all of our questions. And I hope you'll join me during the legislative committee meeting to talk to Riley O'Connor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Member Desart. And on to Public Works and Vice Chair Childress.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on PWCO 126, the amendment to purchase order that's issued to AT&T to increase the contract amount of $15,000 to pay for the continued use of the analog business and circuit lines for various DuPage County Public Works locations.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Member Childress.
Yes.
Member Covert. Member Desart. Member Eckhoff. Member Evans. Member Galassi. Member Garcia. Member Heather. Member Honig. Member Krajewski. Member LaPlante. Member Martinez. Member Ozog. Member Schwarzy. Member Tornatori? Member Yu?
Aye.
Member Zay? And Member Cahill.
Vice Chair Childress.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on PWP 126 on the recommendation for the approval of a contract to Westside Tractor Sales Company for a 2026 Felling FT 24-2T tilling trailer with a 4-foot stationary deck for a period of January 13, 2026 to November 30, 2026 for a total contract amount not to exceed $32,400.
Leave is granted. Vice Chair Childress.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on FMP 126 on the recommendation for the approval of a contract to Secure Mar to furnish, deliver, and install 4 replacement Smith Detection SDX 6040 X-ray inspection system equipment for the circuit courts of the Judicial Office Facility for facilities management for a period of January 14, 2026 through January 13, 2027 for a total contract amount not to exceed $150,248.
Leave is granted. Vice Chair Childress.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on FMP 226 on the recommendation for the approval of a contract to Midwest Applied Solutions to provide ionized tube supplies for the HVAC cleaning clear air system for facilities management for a period of January 14, 2026 through November 30, 2026 for a total contract amount not to exceed $45,710.
Leave is granted. Thank you, Vice Chair Childress. Okay, Stormwater and Member Zay.
Good morning, Madam Chair. For committee update, just a few things. I want to thank our staff and crews for their work last week. We had over 2 inches of rain, which on frozen ground becomes very challenging. We operated a majority of our stormwater facilities. So it's not only in the winter that transportation gets all the acclaim. Sometimes us other people have to work. But again, they did a great job and appreciate their efforts. Also wanted to bring to the board's attention, we started a new cost-sharing drainage program this year for unincorporated residents with drainage concerns. This allows property owners with structural flooding on single or multiple properties with communal ponding to obtain financial assistance. We know we all have these smaller issues in the unincorporated area where we've got ponding and we've got everything else and they can't get rid of it. So staff came up with this program to work with these people. It's a 50-50 cost share up to $5,000. We put a total of $50,000 into the project for the first year. The application and the instructions, how to apply for these grants are online. And if you have any questions, please talk to our director, Sarah Hunn. And I think these applications are open through March 9th, 2026. So again, I want to thank our staff for that. With that, I move on SMP 1-26, recommendation to approve a contract to USGS for water resource investigations for the period of December 1st, 2025 to November 30th, 2026 for the amount not to exceed $393,400.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Member Zay?
Aye.
Member Cahill? Member Childress? Member Covert? Member Desart? Member Eckhoff? Member Evans? Member Galassi? Member Garcia? Member Heather? Member Honig? Member Krajewski? Member LaPlante? Member Martinez? Member Ozog? Member Schwarzy? Member Tornatori? And Member Yu.
Aye.
Okay, thank you, Member
Thank you, Madam
Zay.
Chair.
Okay, Strategic Planning and Member Heather.
No update at this time, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Technology and Member Covert.
No committee update, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Transportation and Member Ozog.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move to combine items 22A through D.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, so moved.
Okay, thank you. I move for approval of 260101, Amendment to Resolution DTR 1625, issued to Builders Paving LLC for improvements to County Highway 33, 75th Street Frontage Road, to increase the funding in the amount of $300,540.16, resulting in an amended contract total of $2,437,490.92, an increase of 14.06%.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please. Oh, I'm sorry. Please
Thank you.
continue.
I move for approval of 260124, amendment to resolution DTR 2125 issued to Earthworks Land Improvement and Development Corporation for drainage improvements along Army Trail Road at Regency Boulevard to increase the funding in the amount of $28,208.20, resulting in an amended estimated county cost of $463,584.30, an increase of 6.48%. I move for approval of item 260104, amendment to DTR 1A20, recommendation of approval to extend the completion date for the intersection improvements at County Highway 2, Belmont, Finley Road, and Ogden Avenue, and County Highway 52, Cross Street and Ogden Avenue, to January 6, 2030. I move for approval of item 260105, amendment to DTR 2A20, recommendation of approval to extend the completion date for the intersection improvements at County Highway 23, Naperville Road, and Illinois Route 38 to January 6, 2030.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Member Ozog.
Yes.
Member Shorzy. Member Tornatore. Member Yu.
Aye.
Member Zay. Member Cahill. Member Childress. Member Covert. Member Desart. Member Eckhoff. Member Evans. Member Galassi. Member Garcia. Member Heather. Member Honig. Member Krajewski. Member LaPlante. And Member Martinez.
Okay, thank you, Member Ozog. Stormwater and Member Zay. Oh, wait. Oh, I'm sorry. I turned my page. I'm awake.
I am not finished. Thank you very much. Because I'd now like to move for to combine items 22E through M. Okay.
Okay.
We have
All
a
in
second.
favor. Sorry. This is
Sir.
all in, approved. Go ahead.
Okay. I move for approval of DTP 126, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to MD Solutions to furnish and deliver signpost reflectors as needed for the Division of Transportation for the period February 1st, 2026 through January 31st, 2027, for a contract total not to exceed $35,000, contract subject to 3 one-year renewals upon mutual agreement. I move for approval of DTP 226, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Lightly Enterprises of Ohio, LLC, to furnish and deliver sign faces for the DOT sign shop as needed for the period of February 1st, 2026 through January 31st, 2027, for a contract total not to exceed $45,000, contract subject to 3 one-year renewals upon mutual agreement. I move for approval of DTP 326, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Mandel Metals Incorporated, doing business as U.S. Standard Sign Company, to furnish and deliver aluminum sign blanks as needed for the Division of Transportation for the period February 1st, 2026 through January 31st, 2027, for a contract total not to exceed $65,000. I move for approval of item DTP 426, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Decker Supply Company to furnish and deliver signposts as needed for the Division of Transportation for the period February 1st, 2026 through January 31st, 2027, for a contract total not to exceed $67,000, contract subject to 3 one-year renewals upon mutual agreement. Excuse me, gotta flip to the right page. I move for approval of DTP 526, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to MD Solutions to furnish and deliver reflective sheeting rolled goods as needed for the Division of Transportation for the period February 1st, 2026 through January 31st, 2027, for a contract total not to exceed $115,000, contract subject to 3 one-year renewals upon mutual agreement. I move for approval of DTP 626, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Vermeer, Illinois, to furnish and deliver 1 Vermeer chipper as needed for the Division of Transportation for the period January 14th, 2026 through November 30th, 2026, for a contract total not to exceed $139,398, contract pursuant to Intergovernmental Cooperation Act. I move for approval of DTP 726, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Altorfer Industries Incorporated to furnish and deliver 1 Caterpillar 962 wheel loader for the Division of Transportation for the period January 14th, 2026 through November 30th, 2026, for a contract total not to exceed $364,510, contract pursuant to the Intergovernmental Cooperation Act. I move for approval of DTP 826, recommendation for the approval of a contract with Thomas Engineering Group LLC for professional construction engineering services for improvements along County Highway 23 Naperville Road from Ridgeland Avenue to Deal Road for the period January 13th, 2026 through May 31st, 2028 for a contract total not to exceed $770,583. Professional services vetted through a qualification-based selection process in compliance with the Local Government Professional Services Selection Act. Finally, I move for approval of DTP 926, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Civil Tech Engineering to provide professional construction Phase 3 engineering services for improvements along County Highway 21 Fabian Parkway from County Line to Roosevelt Road for the period January 13th, 2026 through October 31st, 2028 for a contract total not to exceed $1,830,747. Professional services and compliant with the Local Government Professional Services Selection Act.
Okay, leave is granted. Thank you, Member Ozak. Apologies for my... Yeah, hang on a second. No? Okay, all right. Okay, now we're going to start our discussion. Sorry. So Lisa Smith's going to come up and talk to us about the clerk.
Good morning. Oh, yeah, it's still this morning. So last Thursday, you should have all received the notice of appeal that was filed on Wednesday, January 7th. The notice of appeal begins the appellate process, but it doesn't set forth the specific issues that will be addressed. That will come later when the clerk files their brief, and that tells us what their specific issues are in the case. So the Court of Appeals, they will send out a docketing statement, but at this point in time, we don't have that, but I can give you a rough idea of a timeline. They'll have 63 days to file the record on appeal. That's gathering all the trial court record, making sure that gets to the clerk. They have 35 days after that to file their brief. We have 35 days to respond. In response to our brief, they have 14 days to reply. And then the court can decide whether or not it's going to set an oral argument. So obviously that's, that pushes it out good 6 or 7 months at this point in time. I know that Attorney Ken Flory, who's been appointed to handle the appeal, did note to the press that he may move to expedite the briefing schedule to make it on a faster track. He has not indicated that to us. He hasn't filed anything as of today with the court. So, we're just going to have to wait and see what transpires about that. If the court does expedite briefing, of course, we would let you know what that schedule is. So maybe just a reminder, too, on what the court specifically ruled and what's being appealed. So first of all, if we go back to August 25th of last year, that was a hearing. The court ruled on our complaint, our mandamus complaint. And what the court basically said was this: the county board, you all, are not limited to appropriating funds in the 3 categories that you've heard the clerk talk about time and time again. That would be equipment, materials, and services. So the court, Judge Chapman, said no, that's not the case. You can continue to appropriate the way you do. The second thing he said, elected officials with internal operational control of their offices can be required to complete line item transfers. That was obviously the main focus of our complaint. He agreed. Finally, he said that the clerk must follow Illinois law and provide contracts and or service agreements on any documents when requested. And specifically, he noted the role of the county auditor and said that they shall have access to all records, documents, and resources necessary for the discharge of his responsibilities. So basically, that resolved our mandamus complaint in full in our favor. So we still have left. Now, the clerk had also filed a third-party complaint. That was ruled on December 10th, just recently. So in that, the court had said, just to let you know, so they filed a third-party complaint. They filed a partial motion for summary judgment telling the court why they thought they were entitled to the relief requested. We filed a motion for summary judgment saying they're not entitled to any of that relief. So the court granted our motion to strike certain arguments that were being made by the clerk, specifically regarding GBS and Prager. And the court said that that was outside of the scope of what he was set to rule on with regard to the actions that had been filed. He also said as a separate basis to deny that relief that the issue was moot because the county had paid those two bills, and in the future, the court would not rule on any other questions like that without, they would need to see a contract, they would need to see invoices. So that's why, in addition to the fact that it was outside of the four corners, is what the court says, of the complaint, it also was moot at this time. So basically, in summary, the clerk's partial motion for summary judgment was denied. Ours was granted. That concluded all of the issues on the underlying case at the circuit court level. So next step, they filed their appeal timely, and that's what we'll be waiting for. Of course, we'll let you know when we get the schedule, both for the appeal and when we get their brief, and we'll know what those issues are. But that's where we're at right now.
Member Cahill.
Thank you very much, Lisa. Appreciate that. What did the court say about the legal fees? Are we still responsible for paying the clerk's legal fees through the appeal process?
So right now, the circuit chief judge, Bonnie Wheaton, she appointed Ken Flory at a flat fee of $25,000. So those fees will be cut at $25,000. And I know Jeff spoke to you earlier about the total that's been incurred today.
Yes.
Yes. Plus, yes.
Okay. Member Galassi.
Thank you. I just also want to ask, in addition to the $25,000 that the judge appropriated for this.
Well, that's what the chief judge appointed, yes, for the appeal.
Okay, so, but there will also be staff time spent, like time spent that's going to be hard to quantify.
Of course, like in addition to our time, we also have an appeals division that will be working with us too. So yes, I mean, that's clearly not the total fees.
Yes, right. So I just want to make the point, we're now up to nearly $300,000.
We'll be over $300,000 with the appeal.
With the appeal, we'll be over $300,000 of taxpayer money that's quantifiable, in addition to all the staff time that's been spent on this. That's difficult to quantify, but in excess of.
But significant.
A significant, very significant amount. So, this is just so outrageous to me that we are still fighting over the fact that our state's attorney ruled on the fact that the clerk needed to follow our accounting principles as a county. They needed to follow Illinois law. The clerk said, no, I'm not willing to do that. That's crazy enough as it is. We go to court. The judge rules in our favor on all counts.
Correct.
And the clerk is still saying, I don't care what I'm spending in taxpayer dollar money. I don't care what amount of time is being sucked up from county staff time. I'm going to appeal this, and we're going to continue this process. And I'm going to refuse to follow the county's accounting principles and the Illinois law, correct?
Yeah, the only thing I can't clarify whether or not they filed some budget transfers they may have, and finance can respond to that.
Okay. And now we're also finding out that they, despite the fact that they want pure autonomy in their budget process, they went over budget in 2025. So I know that's not exactly what we're talking about here, but they are just being incredibly inconsistent with their requests. They're not being transparent. We gave them a budget. They went over their budget. And now we're learning that they're not coming back to us on whether or not they've properly bid out and secured the contracts for the election that's starting on February 5th. So it just continues to mount. And, whether or not we have fair elections here in DuPage, it's very important to all of us on this board. And when we have a county clerk that is being this disrespectful and, refusing to come speak to us, refusing to follow the accounting principles, refusing to follow the law, continuing to spend taxpayer dollar money, I just don't understand how we can have confidence in the next election cycle. That's my concern, and it's just
is continuing to be incredibly frustrating. So thank you for all the work that you're doing, and I appreciate, where we all stand on this, but it just would be wonderful if our clerk would actually cooperate and do her job. She's simply not doing what she was elected to do, in my opinion.
Okay, Member Zay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. To go a little farther, just so people don't, those who are keeping score at home, this isn't a fight against the county board and the clerk. I mean, we started with the state's attorney telling them they had to do that. They didn't agree. The state's attorney's office went to the Attorney General of Illinois. The Attorney General gave an opinion on what they had to do. She didn't agree to that. Didn't agree to what the auditor had to say, who was elected on his own. Didn't agree with the county board chair. Didn't agree with this county board. Doesn't agree with a judge who is from DuPage County. Again, this has gone on way too long. I don't understand why they continue to do this. I mean, the chair went and got a state law passed, and they continue to do that. And again, I do have issues of what's going on down there. And I have to say this. This is nothing to do with the county clerk staff, because I've talked to people from the county clerk's office. There are great staff people down there, and I know this has to be hurting them, and I mean, to hear this all the time about the clerk's office, but it's not about their office. They've got great people who work there. Many have worked there for many, many years. But again, how do we have confidence in this elections when we don't know what's going on? Again, we see supplies bought by everybody here at the county. This is now the second election. We have no idea what's going on, what they're buying, what they're doing. I mean, and the clerk does more than just elections. They have a lot of other responsibilities. So again, I appreciate the state's attorney's office and all their efforts, and you've been victorious every step we go. And hopefully someday we'll get an update on how our investigation with the Attorney General. I know we have to go and do probably executive session for that.
But I don't have any update.
Oh, we don't have any update. Okay, no. But again, we were hoping, with this ruling, this would conclude this and end this chapter. But I guess it hasn't. And the only one that's really hurting is the taxpayers of DuPage County.
Member Garcia.
Thank you, Chair. Member Zay kind of said something I said. I have confidence in elections because I know that the staff that's in the clerk's office is fantastic. I know that they are doing the best work that they can do and always have been. I do have a confidence in the election judges that are running our elections. I know that they are coming there as volunteer or getting paid. I shouldn't say they're volunteers, but they are doing the best job they can. So the only person that I think I have an issue with right now is, of course, the clerk and the deputy clerk, who are just keep going on this, I almost want to say hamster wheel, where everybody tells them to get off because they're not right and they won't. And I also want to give kudos to the finance staff because they absolutely have more work on their plate because of what's going on with the clerk's office, between creating budgets and between trying to figure out what's been paid, what's been not paid. I'm working with the procurement department. They've got more work because nothing's getting sent to them in terms of, whether, and then of course that adds up with the auditor also. I mean, it's just causing so much more work for everyone here in the county instead of just following the normal procedures and accounting procedures and financial procedures. And I just want to have to ask, is anyone else in the county questioning our normal procedures, or is it just this one department?
I'm not aware of anyone. I mean, the finance department would probably be
Nope, I'm getting a no. No one else is. So it's just this department. And I think it's just a travesty, quite honestly. Thank you.
Member LaPlante.
Thank you, Chair. I'm just going to reiterate what I've said, approximately 3 million times already. I've been bringing this up for almost 5 years now. So yeah, everyone's talking about how awful this is, that it's taking so long. I just want to make sure that people understand how long. So these questions have been raised for years and years and years. And I'm glad the county board, certain members have caught up to that. That's fantastic. But this is why it's important to ask questions. This is why it's important to stand up for fiscal responsibility. This is why it's important to hold people accountable, even if they're from your same party. You got to do it. This is what our job is. I'm going to keep saying it as long as this topic keeps getting brought up. Thank you.
Member Ozog.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's only one word that I can use for this situation, and that is inexplicable. And I would like to send the message to the clerk that what she is doing here, in spite of the courts, in spite of our own state's attorney, et cetera, really mirrors to me what we are listening to every night on the national news. Really thumbing our nose at our legal system, continuing a battle that's costing taxpayers now well over $250,000. It's ridiculous and inexplicable, and maybe when she hears some of these comments, she might change her mind, because this is just a waste of time, money, and effort. Thank you.
Okay, Member Tonatori.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think, to be clear, the $25,000 fee is for an appeal to the appellate court, correct?
Correct.
So regardless, when this is going to be appealed to the Supreme Court, we're going to be dealing with more money. Because win, lose, or draw, there's no reason for the clerk to stop there if there's another opportunity. Also, there's costs, transcript costs, and filing fees, which are in addition to the $25,000. Am I correct there? Whatever they may be.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I'm still a little confused. The judge basically said that the clerk has got to follow our rules, regulations, and general accounting principles. But the issue about the bidding is, from what I understand, essentially moot because we paid the bills.
Well, it was never part of our lawsuit.
I understand, but essentially that, to me, is honestly an even bigger issue than whether or not somebody moves something from line item A to line item B. And I understand we have new legislation, but my concern is that there's still a bidding issue at the clerk's office that may or may not be complying with the law.
And
correct?
that's what the Attorney General is looking at now.
Okay, which leads me to my final point. This is death by 1,000 cuts, and the clerk owns the knife store. Okay, we're in a position right now where I hope that somebody, the powers that be, can get a hold of the Attorney General and explain that every day that that investigation does not move forward is another dollar that the taxpayers are paying. And we keep saying $300,000. It's $1 million. I mean, figure out all of our staff time. We just kind of, blow that over. But the reality is that's money, too, that the taxpayers are paying. And I think it's really important that Attorney General will get this sooner rather than later. So I trust you've got his ear.
Member Eckhoff.
Say that question, has the clerk, since the judge's ruling, had the opportunity to make a decision to follow the judge's ruling or to continue on their path of whether
Well, I know since August, when the court ruled that they had to complete budget transfers, they did complete some. So, I think when necessary, they did complete them, and I think now they're going to need to seek an additional appropriation according to the numbers we heard earlier.
So they haven't thumbed their nose at the judge's ruling yet. They disagree with it, but they haven't.
Yes, it's my understanding they have completed budget transfers when necessary.
Thank you.
Okay, I have Member Kajewski.
Thank you. And thanks for the update, but I think the update that we're all kind of waiting for, or at least a number of us are, and we keep getting the same answer, I know from the state's attorney, you mentioned it again today, we need to go into executive session, but we need to find out where the other investigation's going, which means you need to reach out and get a report, because to pick up on Member Galassi's, just to make sure that we have confidence in this next election cycle. I mean, when you delay, are you hiding something? I don't know. But that investigation needs to get in there and get done and completed. And I think we need to put the emphasis on there. We have an election coming up here.
I
and I think the Attorney General needs to understand that and needs to get in there and do the investigation and come back. I mean, how long? It can't take that long to do it. I don't know what they're doing. We keep getting the same report from the state's attorneys. We haven't heard anything.
Well, I mean, they don't report to us, obviously.
I understand, but I think we need to, our state's attorney has a good relationship, needs to emphasize the importance. This is DuPage County, it's the second largest county in the state. There are 1 million people here. And we need to make sure that the elections are going off without a hitch here. And so we really need that investigation.
I understand.
Okay, Member Schwartzy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I heard a new narrative today that I have not heard in all of this years long discussion on the issues that we're having with the clerk's office. And I just want to put a quash to it. Concerns about the integrity of the elections. I've heard that twice today, and I 100% disagree with that. Our well-trained staff, our honest, hardworking staff that have been running these elections know what they're doing. Our election judges know what they're doing, and I just want to put a quash to that. The integrity, accuracy, and fairness of our elections have nothing to do with this second narrative, so the issues that we're dealing with the clerk's office. So that's all I want to say.
Okay, and I'd just like to add two things. Did I get everybody? Okay.
I'll bring up one point now. I mean, a year ago, I had somebody in District 3 get absentee ballots, or 2 cycles ago, absentee ballots with the candidates from District 2 on it. And the stuff comes mailed out of Arizona. I asked the attorney for the Election Commission to try to figure out how that happened, and it came out of Arizona. So Arizona's main it, whoever the vendors are. It has nothing to do with the staff. It has nothing to do with the election judges. But evidently we mailed ballots out of Arizona at the time. So again, those things happen, mistakes are made, but again, we don't have confidence in the vendors. We don't know if it's been bid out. We don't know anything. And I agree with what Member Zay said. Staff in the clerk's office does a great job. I'm sure election judges are doing a great job.
Okay, first I want to say that staff is doing a great job, and the election judges are also doing an impeccable job. So they are two different things. Two things I wanted to state. Number one, in the 3 years I've had the privilege of having this position, the work that this board has done is almost undescribable, the work that we've achieved. I have never had a billing issue come to my level from any department, ever. So if there's an issue, the auditor has an issue, he will tell that department, I need this information, and he gets it, which is why I never hear it. In this case, he was put in a position where he understood he needed more information, couldn't get it, went to the state's attorney. State's attorney told him he needs to get that information in order to pay those bills. So if he didn't do that, he would be the one who would be breaking the law or not doing things the way that we do, the way that we pay bills around our policies. So I think it's important that we state that. The other thing is I am incredibly grateful to Chief Judge Bonnie Wheaton. Bonnie has been put in a very bad position. The clerk and the deputy clerk came to her and actually wanted to file a whole new lawsuit. And thank you to her leadership, she said absolutely not. So that is something we all need to be aware of and be grateful for. I think that is it. So we can end with that. We're going to move on to old business. And before we start old business, I would just like to make a public request. Please feel free to speak up if you know differently. I knew nothing about this horrific, what sounds like a horrific accident in Downers Grove. I can't believe any of you knew about it. For that reason, I'm going to request that the sheriff give us some information about what that was all about. Anytime lives are lost, it's a horrendous thing, and every life matters in this county. So we need to get some information about what happened in that accident in Downers Grove. Okay, back to old business, and Member Zay was first.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, I know I've been here longer than some of the furniture, but I fought hard back in 2016 to get video gaming into the unincorporated area. Not because I'm a gambler or I care about gambling. I'm actually not a gambler. But I wanted our business to be on even par with our municipal businesses. And we're going to see a lot of this coming. And we do have issues with our gaming. I mean, it goes property line to property line. It probably shouldn't because some of these parcels are big. I mean, it should be probably changed. And I think our staff is working on that. We've had daycares and places of worship build next to places where they had video gaming, where now all of a sudden we're sending notice saying you can't have your business anymore. We don't have a grandfather clause. So again, it's not about gaming. I think it's about our businesses. As we see many of our municipalities, these gaming places are all over the place. And only thing I want is to make sure we're on the same footing with our businesses so they can compete. Because if they can't compete, then we're going to have a lot of open spaces out there. And again, I don't agree that 7-Eleven should have this. I mean, I'm completely against that. I mean, I think that's the problem we have with some of our zoning and some of this gaming. But just keep that in mind in the future, that some of these businesses that are dedicated, are bars or restaurants that actually have these machines that we see everywhere else, that these are going to be coming forward. And I know a lot of people are against gaming, but again, it's not gaming because they do have a service, they do have bars, they do serve food, they do try to compete with their neighbor down the street that has the same stuff. So hopefully we'll get more resolution with that. I know Chairman Tornatore is working hard with staff on that, so hopefully we can get that straightened out here in the next few months. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. And I think I want to thank Chairman Tornatore for this is a very difficult subject. There are laws, there's zoning, there's all kinds of things involved in this, and we are required to follow the law. So we're going to make sure that that's what we do. Member Colbert.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is, I don't know if it falls under new business or old business, but we did bring up during finance meeting and earlier today about housing. And I support affordable housing. We all do. It is so important and crucial in today's time. There is one thing that I want to bring to your attention that is happening statewide, and a lot of constituents are speaking to me about this. In addition to the high interest rates on the mortgages and the lack of enough housing out there, there's an added layer of what I like to call an artificial construct that is getting in the way of housing, the ability to own a home, and that is overbidding. So when people are purchasing homes, there are people that are overbidding on these houses, and it leaves the other buyer in a position where they don't have enough money to, go that high in bidding. The problem is that it's creating an imbalance on the market. Now you have these artificial bidding processes, which is raising the value of these houses so high where other people can't afford them. And I know that this may be like a state issue. I'm all for fair markets and fair housing, an open market, but when there's an artificial impairment, I think that we need to step in to either regulate it or do something. And I don't know what we can do, or if we could write a letter to the state asking for their help doing something, or what we can do. I just wanted to put this out there and talk to you about ideas that we may have to help, our efforts over here at the county, because we're working so hard to make housing affordable.
Yeah, I would recommend that you try talking to a legislator. I don't really know that there's anything that can be done legally, and I would just like to let you know that it happened to me 4 times.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Member Honig.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to kind of go off the video gaming conversation, this was a hot topic back in 2019 when I first got on the Lombard Village Board, and it had come to the board multiple times over the past first decade. And they voted it down, but we ended up voting it through. And I think that, it really seems to be a case-by-case basis. There are people that abused that, getting liquor, a combination of licenses, or, it helped the community. A lot of businesses were saved in Lombard, and it helped so many. And I agree with Member Zay, 7-Elevens, that's something that is a little concerning to me. But I think, going forward, I, trust Chair Tornatore is doing awesome due diligence on this, and, going forward and looking forward to hearing about that. Also, I didn't get a chance to speak about when we were talking about the chair's budget, but again, support the chair's budget 100%. The down payment assistance plan, I think that is going to be extremely helpful. Coming up, again, hearing from young families that are just starting a family, moving in, that is a huge barrier to get past, is the down payment for a house, no matter the cost above $300,000. And also, talking about all the pots of money and where, are we going to move it to reserves, or where are we going to have it? I think,
something to remember is the unpredictability of the seasons too, is that DuPage pads came in at the very last second because of an urgent need. And so that was something that, we got to be careful of what we do with our money and that we have that availability so that, we can assist people in DuPage County when it's needed. And also the usage of food pantries going up with 1,200 people, new users a month. And so I just wanted to get my 2 cents out because I didn't get a chance to say anything. So thank you.
Okay. Anybody else on old business? Member Krajewski.
Throw them out real quick, and I don't need any discussion on it, but just because I didn't get a chance to speak either, your sustainability buckets of 3, I'd throw a 4th bucket in there and just throw some money in for economic development. And honestly, you could put it all in there and figure out what to do with it later. I mean, it's there, and then the board can go in more detail. So even in your community sustainability, that's where members start. Members A could actually, if they want to put the $1 million or not-for-profits or member initiative, that's for the community. You could just put it all in there and figure it out later. Just 2 real quick things. One thing that came from EOs and some staff is we have people in this staff that have a sickness like a cancer and they're going for treatment radiation, and we put out, or HR puts out, or somebody puts out, hey, does any staff members want to donate a couple of their days here, a couple of days there? I talked to Nick, and I guess there's one that he was going to throw a day in there. But I think we as a board should put a bank out there. I don't think it's that much. I asked Chris Clevenger to see what we're talking about, how many of those go over time, but we should maybe do that. I happened to mention at the Bedeloff on Saturday, we went down to watch our Bears play, and he said they implemented that to Tollway and they did a match. So they would put that in if a staff member wanted to put a day in to help another fellow employee. So I think we should look at that. I don't think it's that costly. And third, I know I talked to the chair over the weekend. We have a vacant wing over here at the convalescent center, looking at maybe a daycare there for our staff. And maybe that's a committee that the chair appoints to look into it. Again, but putting all that money in community sustainability, if it drops to reserves the year or 2 down the road when you want to take it out, that's what creates that budget deficit, spending deficit that you don't want and what staff is doing. But if we put it in a bucket, we can move that within your bucket, more to housing, more to this, more to that. But it's just a placeholder. So that may be the easiest thing is just put it in community sustainability, which is basically all of DuPage County and whatever we decide later on to do with it. We may come up and say we want to do this for a particular group of people. We just take it out of that pot. I mean, it's very generic. The way you have community sustainability, that could be anything in the community. So that may be the easiest. That's it.
No, but we did. We had a great conversation about it, and I completely agree that economic development should be part of community sustainability, especially with the uncertainty of where cuts could happen. So we're going to figure out. That's right. We're gonna figure that out. It's all in the process. Childcare is something we're going to look into for sure to see how that would work. And the sick days, I think that's a great idea. We'll see what the board thinks about that. I think that's something we can certainly do, and it won't cost a lot of money. We are very fortunate, but with that comes a lot of responsibility. Almost $10 million is a lot of money. So it's important that all of you spend time thinking about it and that we do the right thing for our communities with that money. And I believe that we will make that decision and get that done. So anybody else on old business? How about new business? Member Desart.
Thank you. This is new business because we just learned about the surplus today. And I agree with members A, we don't have to spend every dime. But one of the things I brought up in the past that I think would be a great investment in our sheriff's office is, there's been a news report about the city of Joliet and how they have real-time translation technology in their cameras. And I don't know how much it costs, but I'd love for our staff at the Sheriff's Office to look into it to be able to communicate better with our residents who speak. This thing has 50 languages in it, and I think it would be great to just see how much it costs and maybe make that investment. Thank you.
Okay. Member Heather. And then,
Thank you, Madam Chair. All the board members received a list from Evan about the member initiative program, and I was just going through that whole list. It was one thing to see them come board meeting by board meeting, but when we looked at the list, I looked at the list as a whole, and I saw all the work that has gone into it. Evan, State Attorney's Office, and all the board members that have worked so hard to work with the organizations in your district to make that impact happen in your individual districts, that is amazing. That is amazing. So thank you to all of you for working so hard. And thank you, Chair, for running a program that was so successful and was so impactful in our communities.
It was, I mean, honestly, you know, unintended consequences, really, in order to do something like that, you really almost have to hire a full-time grant person. So because I value Evan so much, I think he might quit if we did it again. So I think putting economic development into our sustainability will solve all those problems. Member Galassi and then Member Cahill, or Member Cahill and Member Galassi.
Oh, thank you, Madam Chair. I just would like to congratulate our outstanding state's attorney, because it's my understanding that the ruling came back today on the Bensonville police officer shooting, and our state's attorney was victorious. So I want to thank you for all your hard work and keeping us safe in DuPage County and taking care of business. Thank you.
Okay, Member Galassi.
Yes, also congratulations, State's Attorney Berlin. And just some good news for DuPage, specifically District 3. I wanted to congratulate Sarah Warren from Willowbrook. She is a speed skater that just qualified for the Winter Olympics, so keep an eye out for her.
That's exciting. Yeah, we got it. Be interesting to see. I mean, in the Summer Olympics, we had a good amount of DuPage County residents. I want to know how many Winter Olympic participants we have, too. It's something to be really proud of. Okay, anybody else? Okay, well, I'm informed we do not have anything for us to go into executive session. So I'll take a motion to adjourn the meeting. All in favor? This meeting is adjourned until Tuesday, January 27th, 2026 at 10 a.m. Guys, listen up.